So before, a lot of people often used to ask, what's the difference between fire and light? And in a lot of ways, they are the same, but at the same time, they're different. Fire is usually caused by a form of combustion. It gives off heat and photons, but not on the same level as like light itself. Now, the difference between fire and light is because light itself is basically a higher level of brightness, burns hotter, depending on the star content, depending on the color of the star, and the elements that make up it. Now, what's weird is for the longest time, when you think about stars in the universe, or like astronomy or cosmology, a lot of people like to think that a star is just a big ball of plasma, which is another word for fire, right? So, why is it that photons and fire are two different things, it seems like? So, fire and light. Well, the thing that you'd have to really look at, aside from the temperature and the elements, is the amount of electromagnetic radiation. And this is interesting because you can find out that in space, like for example, a fire, you can look at it, it doesn't burn that bright. However, you look at a star, sorry if this is too bright, and you look at like one of the hottest stars you can find in the universe, or one of, it's so bright that it would just blind you directly. But you can't even touch it because of the amount of heat it gives off. So it's just basically a big plasma ball of gas flying around in the universe that creates its own gravity and heat source. So the difference between, because in the universe, if you think about it, fire and light are one and the same, but still two different things. It's just hotter and more like radiation. So when you look at light and darkness, obviously heat is created through, combustion and just friction. But with like radiation, you have like a melting sort of process the universe likes to give off. And then you also have like, when you look at like the opposite, when you look at like dark matter, where it's like cold, it's like a crystallization process, which is actually pretty cool. So hopefully this kind of explains it a little bit better, because there's people out there that sometimes ask, well, isn't fire and light the same thing? Yes, but at the same time, no. And it really depends on how far you want to go into the spectrum, and that's how you can tell the difference.